In this video, we'll take a look at using synthetic division to divide a polynomial, and the example we're given here is the one in blue, by a trinomial. Synthetic division is usually used just to divide by a binomial, but I'm going to show you how to use it to divide by a trinomial, x squared plus x minus 2. So you start the same way you would when you're using it for dividing by a binomial. You put the coefficients from the polynomial, which are 1, negative 3, 1, 4, negative 5. That's those numbers right there. And the symbol looks a little longer. In synthetic division, there's normally just this much and a little vertical line here for the remainder, and we put numbers in here once. But there's this dotted line in the middle. Now, there's room here for one row of numbers here and actually two rows of numbers here. Now we're dividing by x squared plus x minus 2, so what you do is you put the opposite of the coefficients of the linear term and the constant in the end. So the x coefficient is 1, so I put negative 1. The constant in the end is negative 2, so we put plus 2. And that actually is the same for the constant in the end as when you're using synthetic division to divide by a binomial. Now the next thing you do is very similar to what you do in the normal synthetic division, is you bring this leading one all the way down here. But because we're dividing by a trinomial, we have this extra row here. You also take this negative 3 and put it down here. Now you leave a space because there's going to be numbers below that. That's in the top of the two rows down here. And what you do, and this next procedure is the same all the way through now, is you take this negative 1 and you multiply it by that 1. And every time you multiply by the negative 1 here, those numbers go in this row. And so you also multiply the 2 by the 1, and you always put those numbers in this row. So you put that 2 times 1 is 2 right here. And the same as normal synthetic division, you add. So negative 3 and negative 1 add to negative 4. 1 and 2 add to 3. Now we once again multiply negative 1 by negative 4, and of course that's positive 4, so we put that here. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, so that will go up here. And we add again. 3 and 4 add to 7, 4 and negative 8 add to negative 4. And so one last time, negative 1 times 7 would be negative 7 here, and 2 times 7 is 14, so we put that number up here. Negative 4 and negative 7 add to negative 11. Negative 5 and 14 add to 9. And actually that 9 gets carried down here to go in the end. That's part of the remainder. So we divided this polynomial by x squared plus x minus 2. And so the answer is, and the 1 negative 4, 7 means x squared minus 4x plus 7. And the remainder is a negative 11x plus 9. If you remember the way synthetic division goes, constant in the end, first power of x, second power of x, etc. So constant in the end, first power of x, that's why this is x negative 4x to the first. This would be x squared, there's another one would be x cubed. So one way to write out the division statement is the polynomial we started with, the quartic, x to the fourth minus 3x cubed plus x squared plus 4x minus 5, would equal the product of, and it's basically this times this plus the remainder. So the x squared plus x minus 2 times the x squared minus 4x plus 7, and the remainder is negative 11x plus 9. Now if we take a look and compare this to the long division, you see a lot of similarities in the numbers. And the reason some of these signs are opposites, remember, in long division you subtract successive rows, in synthetic division you add. And if you remember, in long division, the coefficients 1x squared minus 4x plus 7 are actually these coefficients right here, 1, negative 4, and 7. And we find those, of course, right here, 1, negative 4, 7. Now, the coefficients in the rows, which are the 1, and the negative 2 here, are, and now the first number is always the right sign, but the second number is always the opposite. So I said 1, 1, negative 2. So these are the numbers actually right here. 1, if I start at the bottom, left side there, 1, now it goes negative 2, 2. The second two numbers are always the opposite side, and that's the difference between the adding and subtracting. If you look at the coefficients here, negative 4, and 8, that's these coefficients right here. First number at the bottom is the same sign as in the long division. The second two numbers are opposites. And the same with the 7, 7, negative 14. 7 is correct, or sorry, the same, and the second two are the opposite sign. And that's just the way that synthetic division works. So that's the comparison between the synthetic and long division. But that's how synthetic division works when you're dividing by a trinomial.